So I've been asked to see if I can say a few things that might motivate you guys on the wrestling team. And I got to tell you, some of the things I might share won't be motivating because wrestling, our wrestling coach was Rob Ward. I wrestled at Dixie High School. Graduated in '91. My junior year was the last year that I did wrestle. I wrestled at 152. Even though in football I was about 180 or so, that was my senior year. So about 170 my junior year, and then would go down to 152 in wrestling. The year turned out very successful, much more successful than I had anticipated, because I had primarily wrestled just to stay in shape for other sports, but ended up winning the state championship my junior year. But I'll tell you, one of the things that Rob Ward, he had all these different sayings around the wall, but one of the things that he'd always say, and I believe it to the core, and that is, you play football, you play baseball, you play basketball, but you don't play wrestling. You wrestle, and wrestling is not play. It is hard work. It's 6 minutes. If you're unfortunate to have to go the whole 6 minutes, it is 6 minutes of just work and work and work. But I'll say wrestling was no question the hardest sport I ever participated in. But there were a few times during the seasons that I desperately wanted to quit, but ultimately knew that I just couldn't do it, because if I did, I thought it would affect the rest of my life. And so in spite of sometimes really, really wanting to quit, pursued through it and kind of persevered, and ultimately it turned out better than I had, like I mentioned before, anticipated. But I will say that I feel like wrestling really helped prepare me for the rest of my life. I felt like it didn't matter what challenges would come my way. If I survived Dixie High wrestling, I could survive anything. And I think that whether that was boot camp or special forces training or a career in finance over the last 10 years, if you know anything about the financial markets. I'm an investment advisor now at a firm called Soltis Investment Advisors. And it's been a challenging decade in the financial markets, but not near as challenging as the 3 months of Dixie High School wrestling my junior year and sophomore year and freshman year and so forth. But after things turned out really well for me in my junior year, I had made some commitments that I didn't wrestle my senior year, because I was focused on baseball and football, two sports that I was fortunate enough to sign a letter and I was going to play in college. And then right before my baseball season, senior year, fell asleep at the wheel, crashed my truck, broke my neck, and was paralyzed. And that was another huge challenge in my life. But I promise you, I drew on some of those challenging things that came from that wrestling season the year before that helped me really get through. I mean, I knew I could make it through that challenge because of getting through some of the other difficulties that I've gone through before. So.